Hey guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Keshi Dillon, and today we have here with us the LeapMotor C10. Now this is a big deal because LeapMotor is a brand that is fairly new in the automotive industry. In fact, it just was introduced somewhere about 2013 thereabouts. However, history for the company totally changed last year when the Stellantis group bought 51% of LeapMotor for a staggering €1.5 billion. And then thereafter, LeapMotor, well, basically they became a global giant. Just this year, it stepped out of China, it went into global markets, and now it's entering the ASEAN market, with Malaysia being the first market where the C10 is being introduced. Guys, it has a lot of nice things, a couple of things that really annoy me. But then again, before we dive deep into the C10, here's a quick word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. This video is brought to you by Berjaya Sompo Insurance. Get Sompo MotoSafe by Berjaya Sompo. The less you drive, the less you pay. It's that simple. Choose from 3 different mileage plans with affordable premiums to fit your driving needs. Perfect for those who drive occasionally. Plus, enjoy extra perks like unlimited towing, 100% special perils, and all driver coverages. Ready to drive smart and save big? Switch to Sompo MotoSafe today. Head over to Berjaya Sompo Insurance and start saving now. Now, design-wise, I always like to say that design is always going to be subjective. What might look good to me may not look good to you, and vice versa. However, I think that the design-wise is not all that bad. It's a safe-looking design. But in terms of dimensions, it's actually quite a big car. It's actually bigger than the Volkswagen Tiguan and smaller than the BMW X3. According to the dimension sheets, this should be a D-segment SUV. But then again, some of the representatives of Stellantis Malaysia say that this actually sits in between the C and D segments. But there you go, in terms of dimensions, as I said, bigger than the Volkswagen Tiguan, but smaller than the BMW X3. What I find to be fairly odd about Chinese car makers is their branding, because this to us might be LeapMotor, but in China it's actually called Lingpao. Just like when we were introduced to Xpeng just about 2 weeks ago, we might call it Xpeng in Western markets and in ASEAN markets, but in China it's known as the Xiaopeng. But that aside, let's get back to the car. In terms of the side profile of the car, it again looks, well, very safe. I really like this sort of jade green, jaguar green kind of crossover. It really suits the overall design of the car. Now, in terms of wheel size, it measures in at a staggering 20 inches. But check out the gargantuan wheel wells. That just makes the 20-inch wheels look so small. And then when you come over here, now this is basically reminding you of what you're driving. But not only that, you get little radars in there which help with some of the ADAS systems, such as your lane departure warning and such. Now, of course, you get this gloss black mirror that sort of just suits the overall design and color coordination, but then you also get your camera mounted underneath here. Now, you also get flush door handles that look really good. Now, we go to the back. Of course, in typical modern day fashion, you get a light bar that basically stretches across the width of the car. Well, this is not only reserved for Chinese car makers, but you also see it with a lot of European car makers as well, particularly from Porsche, which I could be wrong, but I think Porsche started it first with the Cayenne. But I like the overall simplicity of the back of the C10, and to open the boot, there's just a button hidden away right here. Now this is how you open the boot and get access to not a very large boot. It's actually not that big. In fact, it just measures in at 375 liters. Now, there's a very good reason why it's not very big, which I'll get to later, but in terms of a tonneau cover, the representatives of Stellantis Malaysia say that when the car is launched, it may come with a tonneau cover. Now let's step inside, but before we do, I just want to show you something that sort of irritates the hell out of me. Now this is just annoying my OCDs to a different level. Now usually when you put down the window, you switch it down, right? You touch down, you point it downwards, the window switches. But in the LeapMotor C10, to put down the window, you have to point it upwards. And that puts down the window, and to put it back up, you have to switch it downwards. Let me show you again, just so that you absorb it. Now usually, to put down the window, you press the switch down, but it's not going down. That's because in the C10, you have to push it up for the window to come down. And that's for all the windows, guys. I've been a motoring journalist for the past 20 years. This is the one car that I've seen that has this thing. Sometimes you really don't have to reinvent the wheel when it's going to be rolling anyway. So in the interior is really, really nice. It feels very well appointed inside here. And according to the spec sheets and the press releases, the interior of the LeapMotor C10 is designed to be family friendly, particularly baby friendly. That's because these seats, which are extraordinarily comfortable, they're really nice, very plush seats, but they're not covered in leather, they're covered in PU. Now they're covered with a special material that has been dermatologically tested, just to ensure that if a baby were to bite into them, well, just as babies do, or lick them or something, just as babies do, they do not have any sort of toxics or toxins that may harm your child. So that is very clever. Now, I appreciate that. As a parent, I appreciate how LeapMotor thinks about such things. Now, inside here, it is typically EV, typically Chinese EV. You get a massive infotainment screen, you get a digital meter cluster over here, which for me, guys, I think LeapMotor again deserves credit for this, because as Tesla does it, everything is just here. As the Volvo EX30, which we just drove a couple of weeks ago, everything is just here, including the speedometer, and all the controls are just located here. Now, you tend to learn to live with it, but it's still annoying. So it's great that LeapMotor actually has a meter cluster over here. It may be digital and it's showing me a bunch of different things. So I'm guessing that as I go about my day-to-day business, this might just be telling me a bunch of stuff that I don't want to know, but I still prefer to have it right in front of me rather than taking my eyes off the road and going to the left. There's some other things that I really appreciate about the C10 as well, such as the fact that it also comes with a switch to open the glove compartment, which may not be very big, but at least you get a switch to use it. Now, I really appreciate how LeapMotor has stuck to the fundamentals of using switches where they are supposed to be and panels where they're supposed to be. Never mind the window switch, let's just forget about that. Now, the other thing that I really appreciate is the fact that it comes with a shade, guys, shade. Now, I love panoramic roofs. I love them. Now, there are a lot of cars, EVs or not, that come with a panoramic roof, but a lot of them do not come with a shade. And that is just such a pity, because what you end up doing is you end up tinting it, heavily tinting it, which means it just takes the beauty of the shade of the panoramic roof away, because you can't really revel in it. But with a shade though, when the weather is nice, just how it is today, nice and cloudy, you can sort of really enjoy what a panoramic roof has to offer. Besides that, you get a big cubicle over here to keep your barang-barang and such, and you get a multi-layered spot over here to keep your devices. You get a charge pad and such. Now, the other thing about the C10 is you get a column mounted gear selector, which again, is very cool, very nice. Now the next question you might be asking is, what's located in this massive screen over here? The simple answer to this, my friends, is everything. Everything is located in here. So you click on this, and this gives you all your controls, everything from your lighting to your advanced driving aid systems to your display. And let me just show you your lighting. You have your headlamps, so this is how you turn it off and such. So I'm putting it on auto. And then you have your intelligent lighting. Your interior lighting is done through here as well. So this is how you adjust your ambient lighting. You get a bunch of different colors, and you also get different effects. You get static effect, you get a monochrome flash with just sort of pulses, you get a multicolor flash, and you can also choose whether you want it to be displayed around the entire car, just at the front or just at the rear. So this is quite cool. And then these are your doors. This is basically how you adjust your rear view mirror, and through these Tesla-like buttons over here. So all you Tesla fans and owners might recognize these toggles over here because they really look like they came off or were inspired by a Tesla. Anyway, back to this. So this is how you adjust your rear view mirrors and such, meaning your side view mirrors. And then besides that, this is your roof, your tailgate, then your charging, your driving, everything, your drive modes, everything is done through this. It also has a one pedal drive. This is your advanced driver aid systems, your blind spot detection, door opening warning, rear collision warning, rear cross traffic alert, distraction warning. Distraction warning is actually quite cool because there is a sensor that is located right here at your A pillar, and that it basically will show you, will analyze your eyes and ensure that you have your eyes on the road. And then this your image says this your sounds. So it has a 12 speaker sound system. Unfortunately though, you do not get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Again, Stellantis Malaysia, the guys from Stellantis Malaysia are saying that that might change by the time the C10 is launched in Malaysia. But the car that I'm sitting in right now, this is a UK spec model. So right out of China, these cars do not come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but that might change later. I hope it does, because such a nice sound system, no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto, such a pity. And then you get a LeapMotor voice assistant, you get your display, and basically everything else. And if you're wondering, do you really have to dive through multiple menu layers just to get through all those controls? You don't. You just have to swipe down, and these are your shortcuts basically. Do you get anything if you swipe sideways or something? Oh, you do. Look at this. Oh, nice. This is so Windows 97. But interestingly, check out the clarity of the images, right? Because the processor that is powering the infotainment system is from Qualwell, and it's basically the same processor that is also powering the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. So it's actually quite powerful. I mean, check out the details of this. This is so amazing. Okay, I take that back. This is definitely not Windows 97. This is definitely 2024. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, details, man, details. Anything happens when you do this? Anyway, I'm just being a kid in a toy store. Let's go jump behind. So this, my friends, is what the C10 is known for. Acres and acres of interior space, especially for rear seat passengers. I mean, I'm about close to 6 feet, 5'11 plus, and just check out the amount of headroom that I have, the amount of leg room that I have. This is brilliant. It's so comfortable in here. You also get multiple USB ports, you get your own rear air conditioning vents, and then you get this armrest, but there are no cup holders here because your cup holders are actually located at the front there and at the side as well. So this is all about comfort. See, the thing about Chinese EVs is that the Chinese market tends to prioritize having more leg space, for the rear passengers than they do boot space. Hence why Chinese car makers or car makers that operate in the Chinese market prefer long wheelbase models. That's why you get the E-Class with a long wheelbase, you get the 3 Series long wheelbase, you even get, what's it called, the Tiguan, if I'm not mistaken, is one of those Volkswagen models that also has a long wheelbase, and hence why you get a lot of leg space over here, because this is basically straight out of China, guys, and it's just built for the Chinese market, which is not a bad thing because you can't argue against leg space. Loyalty programs are great, but don't you just hate it when you lose the card or you forget to bring it and then you end up losing out on all those points? Well, BH Petrol has an ingenious solution to it. Rather than coming up with a card, they have launched the BH Petrol e-card application, and it's available on both Android as well as for iPhones. What this does is you basically pour as you normally would, pick up the receipt and simply scan it. You get 1 point for every liter that you spend, and it has a lot of exciting products that you can actually trade your points in for. Right now, with BH Petrol's e-card loyalty program, I don't have to worry about losing my card or even losing out on my loyalty points, making BH Petrol's e-card loyalty program the right choice. But what that means is that you have to sacrifice on something. And in the case of the LeapMotor C10, you have to sacrifice on boot space. So hence why you get 375 liters of boot space. Now let's talk numbers. So you might be wondering, yes, I've shown you a lot about the LeapMotor C10 already, but how far can it go? How fast can it go? How big is the battery and such? Well, Stellantis Malaysia does not want to reveal too much about the C10 as yet, but there's a lot of information available online already, and from what I've been reading, the C10 is powered by rear-mounted electric motor, meaning that this is a rear-wheel drive model. Now, the electric motor is powered by a 70 kilowatt-hour or 69.9 kilowatt-hour battery to be exact, and it has an 800 volt electric architecture, which means that charging this is going to be really quick. And when you do have a full charge, it has a WLTP range of about 420 kilometers, roughly about 400 kilometers of real world range, which is plenty. Now, the LeapMotor C10 promises a lot of things, particularly space and comfort. That's one thing that you want in a SUV of this size, and that is exactly what you get with the LeapMotor C10. I do not have the prices, and I don't know anything about local specification as yet, but I do know that it's priced at 16,500 euros in the European market, which makes this an incredible contender against the likes of the BYDs, and of course, now with Proton coming up with the EMA 7 as well, this is going to shake up the local market. Now, I know for a fact that the C10 goes up against the likes of the Tesla Model Y, but that, as you know, already needs an urgent update. So the Juniper model is coming God knows when. But as far as the C10 is concerned, if this is going to be priced at below 200K, this is a definite winner. Thank you for watching, guys. As usual, do consider subscribing. There are more videos coming up, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple more days. Thank you. Do consider subscribing.